Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this card from the Expressions in Color 2021 June Paper Pumpkin Kit. So we're going to follow the instructions inside the card. I have, excuse me, my card base. I have the vellum floral piece. I have the greeting label that's outlined in Evening Evergreen. I have my stamp that says "You are amazing" with my bumblebee Stampin' Spot. I have cut 26 inches of the Evening Evergreen linen thread. I have my Stampin' Dots. I have some dimensionals, and I have these really colorful sequins. So let's get started building. The first thing they say to do is to wrap the card with the thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a glue dot on the front of the card about here, and one about here, so they're even, just to hold that thread down. I'm just going to peel the fronts of those off, and I'm actually going to start the thread over here because this is going to be covered up. So I'll start the thread there. I'm going to run it past the other glue dot and then bring it around under the card like that. Stick it down again, and you can leave this just a little bit shy if you want so that you've got room to wiggle. And I'm going to stick that back down. I'm going to trim the end off like that. And when I put my greeting down with the dimensionals, I'm actually going to make sure that I catch that thread with that. And they say to do a bow with this piece, and then we can use the sticky dots to attach it. Now, I may not have left myself enough to actually make the bow, but let's give it a whirl. I just make bunny ears, and then I pop the bunny ears through the middle. I just tie the bunny ears up. So let's try that again. If you need to cut another piece of the linen thread, you can. I'm just going to now see if I can get these bunny ears tied, and I may actually end up just cutting another piece. And we're going to pop that through the middle like that. Just tie a bow, and we have got it. Okay, so I'm just going to pull my ends a little bit, and then I'll pull my loops tight, and then adjust my ends again like that. Well, there you go. So there's your bow. And you can just make sure your loops are even and we can put that on afterwards. So we need to stamp the greeting. We're going to use the outlined greeting label that they supplied. I'm going to use my bumblebee stamp spot and ink this up really, really well. I am going to stamp it away on a separate piece of paper just to make sure I've got good coverage. Sometimes these actually need to be stamped a couple of times and cleaned, and then they ink really well. This looks still a little bit off, so I'm just going to use this is just a baby wipe. I'm just cleaning it off, and then I'll stamp it a couple of times to clean it, dry it off. Okay, now let's try stamping again. Have I got good coverage there? Let's have a look. Aha, much better now. Okay, so we are good to stamp. It's always good to check by stamping on a spare piece of paper before you actually ink up something that you can't turn over. I always say paper has two sides, but in this case, the other side does not have the Evening Evergreen outline. So we're just going to place that down, give it a bit of a push, and there we go. So there is the greeting. I'm going to cover up my ink. And I need to put down the vellum piece. Now with vellum, as you know, the glue dots will show through. So what they're telling us here is to put 3 glue dots down on the corner of this flower here. So we're going to put 3 glue dots down in this area. So I'll put it over the middle of the piece so you can see what I'm doing. I'm putting 3 glue dots down in a bit of a triangular pattern. Like that. There we go. And I'll peel the backs off those and stick them down. And I will place this down the way it needs to go. Like this. And they're asking us to put it down like this. So we just have to orient it with the picture and place it down. So there's our 3 ink dots there. And we are going to be covering this up with the greeting. So I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of the greeting. And they tell us to put the dimensionals in each corner edge. So that's what we'll do. Like that. So when we put this on, it's actually going to come down like that. So this vellum piece is actually going to be loose. What I'm going to do, just because it's me and I play things just a little bit differently sometimes, I'm actually going to put another dimensional here so that it will actually lock that piece down against the card itself. And then once I've done that, we'll use a glue dot to put the ribbon on. So I am going to line this up with the ribbon, or with the linen thread. I'm going to stick that down, and then I'm going to use a glue dot on the back of the bow, like that. And then just peel that off and pop the bow down. So there we go. And you can always trim off your thread end if you want to. But there is the first card in the June 2021 Expressions in Color Stampin' Up! Paper Pumpkin Kit. So thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.